Hi, everybody.
Hello.
I would
Welcome to
like
the podcast.
I would like to invite everybody in advance to forgive me for this because it's the only thing that they had available
What is that?
at. It's sparkling water called Liquid Death. Um, I'm really not trying to be edgy. I went to the gym and then I forgot to bring a water with me, and so I went to the gas station down the street from the gym as soon as I was done, dying of thirst,
Hmm.
and this was what they had available in the way
No
of
bubbly.
sparkling water. No bubbly. No
Hmm.
bubbly, no LaCroix, just
Liquid
liquid
death.
death
Is
sparkling
it?
water.
I don't understand why it's called liquid death.
It's really just marketing.
Hmm.
That's all it is. It's like it's really just marketing for people who don't want to be holding like a pink can, I think, is, people who enjoy seltzer, but they're too fucking metal or whatever to.
I don't. My LaCroix is not pink, but I have lime.
Mm, brightly colored cans in general.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's,
I'm putting this in the notes, even though nobody's gonna. It's not gonna make any sense to anybody who's not watching it.
that's true. Um, okay, I did the easy part last week, so
Hmm.
I'll do the hard part this week. And I did just pick a review before we started.
You got one. I did it too.
Are you proud?
Did you put it in the notes? No.
No, no,
Oh.
I screen capped it and
Hmm.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna start recording audio.
Me too. I know that I have waves because I've already did a test.
I have also already done a test, so we can
Oh,
do a three.
wow.
We can do it. Yeah, I know. I'm actually a person today.
I
All right,
know.
all right. 3, 2, 1. Whenever you're ready. Okay.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Idiot's Guide to Horror.
Counteracting the toxic culture surrounding horror fandom and breaking down your favorite horror movies. With you, as always, your hosts, Kara Christine Brown Popovich.
And Christopher Clay Dalton Haberman. So, ready to turn off the lights, grab your chainsaws, and let's get ready to dissect The Evil Dead, which came out in 1981, directed by the Sam Raimi.
Happy 40th anniversary to one of the best horror movies of all time.
Yes, almost as good as the sequel.
Okay, we're not going to do this. So actually, we're recording a little bit earlier than we normally do, because Chris and I are actually attending a 40th anniversary screening of The Evil Dead
Hmm.
tomorrow night, which is usually when we record. So here we are on a Wednesday.
Yeah, and on Wednesdays, we wear pink.
I have pink collar.
I got nothing.
Yeah, and it was your rule.
I know. Me, I was I invented that role whenever I wrote the movie Mean Girls. Tina Fey stole everything from me, and she also took my autobiography, Bossy Pants. So
Tina Fey, we're waiting for the damages.
yeah, I demand recompense.
um. Anyway, Evil Dead, 1981, directed by Sam Raimi. You can watch it on HBO Max right now, which is a blessing
Hmm.
because it was missing from streaming services for quite some time.
They just added
Um,
a lot of things for October.
yeah, I know. It's like that
The Thing is
Halloween time.
streaming. The
What?
Thing is streaming. I don't know. I got an email.
Oh, well, we have to wait until it's snowing to cover the thing.
I know. It better still be
I
streaming.
know, I know. It's just like as soon as a drop of snow falls on the ground,
The first snowflake.
they'd be like, never mind. Um, so
Yeah, it's a movie.
it's a movie. The Evil Dead is a movie. It's iconic. It's
Cult classic.
important.
Hmm.
Um, it created an entire universe, an entire cinematic universe that is still being expanded upon to this day through comic books and other
The video
series.
game coming out really soon.
There is another video game coming out.
And if you
Um,
don't have Evil Dead Fistful of Boomstick for PlayStation 2, you can probably find it at the exchange.
Probably, or whatever your resale shop is, wherever you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh, last week I did the back of the box description.
Okay. Now picture it, everybody. It's 1981. You're wearing your flannels, you have your grunge music playing, or your Depeche
1981.
Mode. Well, what was happening in 1981? The Bangles. Um,
We're a little farther back than that. This is still like Boston.
mhm. I can't get into it. Maybe Bon Jovi, Tom Petty. Okay. So you're listening to your Tom Petty. Let me go to my closet and grab my Tom Petty t-shirt. Um, you're walking to probably the movie theater because you couldn't really, you know, was this renting? You could probably, I don't, guys, I don't know. I wasn't there. I wasn't born yet. I'm doing my best as a volunteer to read this for you. So I just need you to play along with us. Okay.
Okay, okay, put on your imagination caps, everybody.
We're imagining that we're going to rent a movie in 1981 from the movie rental shop, or growing up, what was it? Eagle Video. And that's only a joke that you're going to get if you're in Pennsylvania and maybe just
Some parts of
Pittsburgh.
Ohio.
Yeah.
Um,
You go in, you're going through the horror section, and you find the iconic cover with the girl hand up out of the ground. It says The Evil Dead on it. You turn it around, and I spelled the word group wrong. I see
I
that now.
I was wondering if that was what you meant. A gourd.
I don't look when I type, I just type away.
Were you thinking about gourds because it's fall?
I was watching Us, and I was just like doing three things at once. You turn the box over, guys, and it doesn't say gourd at all. But what it does say is when a group of college students find a mysterious book and a recording in the old wilderness cabin they've rented for the weekend, they unwittingly unleash a demonic force from the surrounding forest. Yeah, short, concise, to the point. Other synonyms for short.
Right. Yeah, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
um so spoiler warning, we are going to talk about this 40-year-old movie in depth up to and including the ending. So if you haven't seen this movie, please pause this episode and watch it. I am also going to issue a trigger warning
Mm-hmm.
for a couple of things. One, for, even though it's a sort of fantastical situation, there is a pretty graphic sexual assault, um, which we will discuss. And then there is also just a metric fuck ton of realistic looking gore. So like for 1981
Mm-hmm.
especially, like this is still gross. It's still hard to watch. Everything's practical effects. Everything looks amazing. Um, so that means that if you are sensitive to gross things, you should probably take a couple steps back and not give it a shot. Um, so yeah, that's now that that's out there.
Yeah,
This is one of my top five favorites of all time. Um,
it doesn't make my list. Top five.
what about the
Oh,
second one?
second one makes my top five. I also love this movie. Don't get me wrong. I love this movie. I've seen it hundreds of times.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yesterday I watched it for like the fifth time this year, but the second one is so good. It expands on this movie so well, and it is so campy.
It is. It's extremely campy. And then once you get to Army of Darkness, then it's just pure camp.
It is just camp.
Yeah, it's
Almost no horror.
yeah, and then you get to Ash versus Evil Dead, the TV series, which is
A good mix.
incredible.
Hmm.
I
And
loved
then
it.
you get to the remake, Evil Dead, which is pure horror.
Yes. Yeah. Gratuitously violent, terrifying horror.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Disgusting.
yeah.
Disgusting.
It's
Hard to
pretty gross.
watch. Mm-hmm.
I rewatched it recently, and it wasn't. I don't know. Maybe I've just been desensitized in the last like.
I've only
God,
seen it once because it was so gross in like
I
2015
I
or
saw
whatever.
it in the theater when it came out twice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I was so taken with it, and then I own it, so I've seen it a few more times, and then I hadn't watched it for a really long time. And I think that I've just watched so much in the
Martyrs.
yeah, just in general, like so
Mm-hmm.
many, like I don't know, it's not like mild at all. I'm not like, oh, that's for babies, but
Yeah.
like, um, it's definitely not as like the end is really gross.
Mm-hmm. The bathroom scene is also really gross.
Yes. Okay, we're gonna
I've
stop
only
before we start.
I'm gonna watch it later. I have it downstairs on DVD.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
It's also like a more like I don't know. I feel like it's a more emotionally evocative movie than this
Mm-hmm.
is. Um,
Yeah, this movie isn't.
no, no. Um,
We'll
it's
get
not.
into it.
It's not a metaphor for anything. It's just.
No.
Um, but okay, so the greatest thing about this movie, other than everything that's great about it, is
Mm-hmm.
that it's an easy breezy 85 minutes.
85 minutes. You're in, you're out.
85 minutes.
Do you know they had to
So
cut they
funny.
cut 65 minutes off this movie?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Did you know that the cabin barely exists anymore because they fucked it up so bad?
Yeah. It's down on the notes a little bit.
Okay. Well, okay. So then let's get into the movie facts then so that we can learn about that.
The first
Um,
one's really short on accident.
well, I mean, how can you really expand upon this?
Mm.
It's pretty simple. It's based off of Sam Raimi's short film Into the Woods,
Yeah,
which I've
like the
never seen.
musical. Me neither. It's only 30 minutes. An easy breezy 30 minutes.
Can you imagine if like James Corden was like singing
Yeah.
while like, somebody's getting like a fucking pencil shoved into their Achilles tendon or whatever?
Poor Linda.
All right, and then do you want to do the
Okay.
second one? As far
The
as
melting corpses towards the end of the movie were made up of oatmeal, marshmallows, snakes, and Madagascar cockroaches.
poor
So
snakes.
I know. Poor cockroaches.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they're living things, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
feel as bad for them as I do for the snakes, if I'm being entirely honest.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they had to stop filming for months at a time to raise money to continue filming. They dropped out of school, got jobs as busboys, cab drivers, and waiters to raise money. If you read Bruce Campbell's memoir, "If Chins Could Kill,"
I
he
love
ta-
it.
he talks about this a lot. Yeah, I just I love Bruce.
I know. I could talk about Bruce Campbell all day.
Yeah, for real.
Speaking of Bruce Campbell, Ash's shirt got so covered in fake blood when he took it off to dry it by a fire, he put it back on and it shattered because it had hardened.
If that's any indication of what's to come.
Mm-hmm.
So what were they had to have been using.
It was KO syrup.
That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was just like sugared
Yeah.
and then
Sugared
wow,
to his body for what, 6 years? How long did it take to film this? A while.
a long time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell like they definitely look different and like older or younger
Yeah.
in like different scenes. Um so the cabin they filmed in was also the living quarters for all 13 of the crew members. The living conditions were so bad that by the end of the filming they were burning furniture to stay warm.
Could you imagine?
No.
No.
No, I don't like to torture myself.
Yeah,
So
me neither. Do you know that Bruce Campbell had to put up his family's home, home as collateral to fund the movie?
it was a good gamble.
Yeah, look at him now.
Paid off.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, the movie was titled The Book of the Dead, but the producer Irvin Shapiro changed it to The Evil Dead, thinking people would be turned off from seeing a movie with a literary reference in the title. Probably right.
Probably right.
As sad as that is,
It's
yeah,
so dumb though.
yeah, I do feel so. Like, what movies have that? Like, there's like that.
Book of Shadows.
Yeah, but that's garbage.
I haven't seen it yet. Oh,
It's
it's coming up so soon.
it's garbage. I'm sorry.
Um,
There's Books of Blood, which is the new Clive Barker anthology. I haven't watched it. I've heard it's terrible.
oh, The Page Master.
Yeah, the Page Master, obviously. Page
Mm-hmm.
Master scared me really bad when I was a kid. How about you?
I don't remember it, but I have it on DVD.
We should watch it and see if it's scary.
Yeah, we should. Hmm. My last movie fact is at the end of principal filming, the crew put together a time capsule and left it in the fireplace for whoever would find it later. However, the cabin is since been destroyed and only the fireplace remains intact.
Yeah, they fucked it up so bad. Like over the course of those two movies, they just
Hmm.
destroyed that cabin. Like because they didn't have like professional film equipment, they would like for like those like zooming in close-ups, like there were a few times where like Sam Raimi like rode a motorcycle into the cabin.
Ugh,
I
the
mean,
70s, man. What are you
on
gonna do?
ingenuity,
Hmm.
like
But look at
that's
them now. He did a Spider-Man.
he did. Okay, Lucille Bluth. Here's a,
Mm.
there, go see a Spider-Man.
Mhm.
All right, so I guess we're gonna walk you through this movie now. It's kind of like it's really simple, so I don't really think this is gonna take very long at all.
Nah.
Um,
I have a lot of notes.
I
I have 3 pages in notes somehow. Couldn't tell you how. I think I typed out every single word.
every single word of the movie.
Mm, a lot.
Yeah. So this movie starts off with five kids. They're all going to a cabin in the woods. It's kind of similar to the beginning of Cabin Fever.
Hmm.
Cabin Fever was a very obvious homage. Um, Except they're in like a beautiful old convertible with the top up, and they're five college students. There's Ash Williams, as Bruce Campbell, his girlfriend Linda, his sister Cheryl, and their friend Scotty and his girlfriend Shelly.
How bad would it be to be Cheryl? You know, fifth wheel, man.
And well, like I don't know. It's all of these years that I've known and loved this movie. I've never particularly felt like anybody really even wanted Cheryl there, or like Cheryl was like a particularly fun person to be around in the first place.
Cheryl didn't even want to be there. She was the first one begging to leave.
Yeah.
But we know, like, that's maybe for a different reason, you know?
Mhm. Mhm. So they when they're on their way there, there's like another car that like they almost collide with, and then when they're driving over a bridge to get to the cabin, it starts collapsing as they're crossing it, and boards are just falling off and falling into the water. Um, so they get there, and the cabin is nice-ish.
No. It's
No,
dingy, it's small, it's unkempt. There's a what's that thing? The chair. What do you call that chair? My notes don't remember.
your notes don't remember.
I don't like I couldn't think of the word for the life of me.
Like
A
the
porch
wing.
swing.
Yeah,
There's a porch swing banging into the wall over and over and over again.
yeah,
And everybody's like hanging out by the car, just
and then
standing there staring at it.
it just stops.
It stops when Scotty grabs the key off the ledge.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, we're here.
Right. Um, but some various things happen. There's like some sexy stuff, and uh, Bruce Ash gives Linda a necklace. Um,
I have a question about this necklace.
okay.
Um, I don't wear a lot of jewelry
Mm-hmm.
and any. I don't wear any jewelry. I guess these. I got my ears pierced,
True.
so I wear one jewelry. However, I don't understand the length of the chain of that necklace. Is
It's
that
very
something? It's way too like it's so long. It would hit her belly button.
that's something that does happen, I guess. I don't know. I'm not particularly like I have a few necklaces that are that long,
Hmm.
but I don't know. I don't
Would
want
you
to.
never take it off? Because she said she'll never take it off.
Well,
And I feel
they're
like
in
that would
love.
get in the way of everything.
They're in love, so
Hmm.
I guess that's that. Um anyway,
Oh, weird thing happens with Cheryl. She's
yes.
drawing a picture of the clock. There's a little clock. It
Hmm.
stops at a random time. I didn't write down the time, but it stopped at a time. And we hear some weird rustling in the woods and some growls and a demon saying, "Join us." And then all of a sudden, Cheryl takes her pencil and starts drawing this weird book with a face on it. And we don't know what that's a reference to at all.
Yeah, it seems like her hand is just kind of possessed and she's
Hmm.
not wanting to draw this this face, this like deformed face. Um but she's incapable of not doing it, I guess.
Yeah.
Um she decides not to tell the others, or she doesn't, like we don't really see her make a decision on camera, but like she doesn't tell the others. Um but then later on, they're all having dinner,
Hmm.
and then the trap door to the cellar just,
Yeah. Swoops right open.
yeah. And so they all have like a little bit of like a discussion about who's going to go down and investigate. Um,
Who would go down out of the two of us?
I think we'd have to go down together.
We'd have to go down together or not at all.
Right. I think
Hmm.
I was going to say maybe neither one of us. I think like if a trap door flung open, like we probably would
We
both be
we
like,
would leave.
yeah, let's
Yeah.
get out of here. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
But we've seen a lot of horror movies.
that's true. We don't know how many of these guys have seen.
Probably none. It sounds
They've
like none.
they've never seen The Evil Dead.
Right. So yeah, that was their fault.
Right, right.
Hmm.
So Ash and Scotty go downstairs to investigate, and they find the Necronomicon, which is a Sumerian version of the Book of the Dead. Um, they also find a tape recording um, of a professor of anthropology that was studying the Book of the Dead,
Hmm.
and they play it, and he's reading the incantations, and while he's reading the incantations, we get the now iconic shots of like, you know something rushing, like the POV of something rushing towards the cabin,
Hmm.
and Cheryl's going like, shut it off, shut it off, shut it off, and then she eventually stands up and just like screams, and, tells them to shut it off, and then a tree crashes through the window, and Cheryl has like a nervous breakdown, and they
I
put her in
would
her room.
also.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
That's another thing. Like, don't play the tape.
Don't. Okay, you could play the tape for a minute, but once you start hearing somebody chanting something in a language you don't understand, you stop the tape.
Right. Sorry,
It
I have.
can't be good. They also found a Kandarian dagger downstairs in the
Mm-hmm.
basement cellar,
Yes,
which it's a big long dagger with a skull on it and some ribs, which comes into play more in the TV show.
it does quite a bit. It's very important in the television show. Um,
Hmm.
so later, Cheryl is hearing voices, and instead of staying in the cabin, she decides to go outside to go looking
Hmm.
for them. And she's walking through the woods, and then she is,
Trigger warning.
yeah, she is attacked and raped by tree
Hmm.
branches. It is, you know,
Unnecessary.
yeah, and Sam Raimi has also said at this point in his life, like, many times that he wishes he did not put it in the movie and that it is completely unnecessary.
Do you know what they
Um,
could do? Much like with Cannibal Holocaust, give me a version without it.
right, but you know what? Even the Evil Dead, like the new one, when I rewatched it recently, there's
Hmm.
still a variation of this.
Yes, there is.
For some reason, like, they didn't make good on this. Like they
No.
like still had like the demon enter her through
Hmm.
her vagina, and I just don't understand.
We don't need this stuff anymore. Just
No.
like when I had to watch Cannibal Ferox last week,
How'd you feel?
it was boring. It is nothing compared to Cannibal Holocaust.
I was gonna say, like, it's really like a very cheap ripoff of Cannibal Holocaust.
However, Shudder did not censor that out for me
Uh,
because they gave me a warning before I started the movie
mhm,
saying that they don't edit it because they want it to air in its original format for whatever reason. So
mhm.
I had to like guess when to close my eyes, and I missed a couple
Yeah,
because they kill more animals in that than they did in Cannibal Holocaust.
right, right. And they haven't made a cut like Cannibal Holocaust has.
Hmm.
Um, and if you don't know what we're talking about, sorry, we should clarify. So there is. I don't know if we're ever going to cover this because I don't think anybody would want to listen to it.
No, probably not.
Um, but one of the most infamously brutal horror movies of all time is a what is called a Mondo documentary called Cannibal Holocaust. Um, Very realistic gore. Used the director, the Italian, what was his name, Ruggero Deodato.
Mm.
Um,
I don't want to. I could go downstairs. I have my phone. I could Google it.
I'm pretty sure it's his last name's Deodato. I know that. Um, but he ended up having to go to court because the uh,
Ruggero.
Ruggero Deodato.
Hmm.
Yeah. He ended up having to go to court because the practical effects were so well done and so gruesome that people thought it was a snuff film, especially because it was like the early days of found footage.
Hmm.
Like maybe arguably the first found footage horror movie. Um, and yeah, so there is in Cannibal Holocaust because it was filmed with like an authentic tribe of people, and I believe it was Papua New Guinea, that had never seen, movies before. They had, they weren't real cannibals, but they do kill animals to eat. Um, and some of that took place on camera, and made it into the final cut of the movie. Now, for Cannibal Holocaust, there's a very famous distributor, not very famous, but there's a distributor of Blu-rays and DVDs, um, of like horror movies and science fiction movies, whatever, of yesteryear, just genre films. It's called Vinegar Syndrome, and Vinegar Syndrome released a Blu-ray DVD special edition of Cannibal Holocaust that is an animal cruelty free version. So there's another. I'm so sorry.
No, they're into it. They're into it.
Oh God, nobody cares.
I care. If we care, somebody else has to care. Hey, if you're the other person, the third person in the world that cares about this, leave a comment down below.
um, yeah, I'll just finish this up and then we can get back to the movie that we're talking about. I'm so sorry. Um, there's a knockoff of Cannibal Holocaust called Cannibal Ferox or Pharaoh, whatever,
I don't speak French.
Ferrex. um, but because what movies did back then was like try to compete with each other and try to outdo each other, because it was like, oh, you liked that much gore and we made, you made this much money showing this much, like now we're going to shock people this much. So there's a lot more in that
Hmm.
movie, um, than there is in Cannibal Holocaust, and it's also just in general not as good.
No, it takes almost the same plot and just does a worse job at it.
Hmm. 100%. But anyway, that tree rape scene in The Evil Dead,
We don't
completely
need it.
yeah, completely unnecessary. One of the most highly contested film scenes, like probably in American history.
Hmm.
Um,
If you go on Letterboxd, 99% of the comments are talking about how we don't need it.
right, but then like you'll go into like one of those reviews,
Ugh,
like,
yeah.
and there's like a bunch of film bros that are like, it belongs in there. It has a point, and I'm like, Sam Raimi, the man who wrote and directed this movie, says he wishes he had not left that in there.
Yeah. You can't read the comments. You can read the reviews, but you can't read the comments. I don't read my own comments because it's just people yelling at me.
I I try. I try not to. Nobody ever really comments on my stuff, so I don't really. But I guess I don't really
I get
like.
random comments about like things that I said wrong, or
Really?
like, yeah, I got a comment the other day
I'm going in there to
on,
beat some people up.
I know. I just don't read them anymore. I just delete.
We're not fucking doing this. No
Mm-mm.
one's gonna talk to.
I'm sorry that you disagree with my opinion on a movie. Um, that's okay.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, why would you possibly care? I don't know. I disagree with people all the time, and I don't feel the need to be like a prick about it for no good reason.
Yeah.
I
Remember
don't.
last week when you hated The Ring? And look at us, still best friends.
Still best
So,
friends, yeah.
yeah.
I'm, I'm very sorry still. I like I like whined to my friend about that earlier. I was like, I was so mean. Um,
No, that's what we do here. In Idiot's Guide to Horror, we objectively talk about the movies, and sometimes we disagree with what is a cinematic masterpiece, like The Ring.
I can't believe that somebody like, okay, I see what you're talking about. You put Poltergeist in and somebody was like, it did get an R rating originally. Like, fuck off, dude. What's this person's favorite movies? Let's see.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't look.
Raiders of the Lost Ark is in his favorite. We're good. You're good. Don't worry about these people. People who consider themselves cinephiles are like the worst human beings.
Yeah,
Even and I know
like I
because I
do.
am one.
Yes. I devote my life to horror movies, and I don't want your shit about it. And I'm sorry, there was no boob in Poltergeist.
The mystery is solved. There's no titty in Poltergeist.
It took 35 weeks, but we got here, guys. We got here. Now, if you don't know what we're talking about,
Go the whole
in
way
like
back to the beginning.
in episode 1 or 2, we talked about there might be a titty in Poltergeist. And neither of us watched it for 35 weeks.
35 weeks.
We didn't look it up. We didn't do shit about it. In this Hooptober, I said, I'm putting it on my Hooptober list to see if there's a titty in it.
Thank you for
Guess
your
what?
service.
There's not. There was a girl in her bra and panties, but no naked boob.
That's where I got confused.
Mm-hmm.
Bras and panties. Panties and bras.
Yeah. And originally it was rated R, everybody, just so you're all aware. And then somehow Steven Spielberg convinced everybody to make it PG.
No
What
one
was Steven
cares.
Spielberg doing?
Making money. So that's the thing. Like, back then, like, an R rating was like a kiss of death. So nobody wanted the R rating. But Steven Spielberg at the time was the only person with the pull
Mm-hmm.
to make that happen. So he avoided the R rating and therefore got the bigger box office. That's how that works.
Well, speaking of R ratings, did you know that Evil Dead's rated NC-17?
Yes, I did know that. For
It was,
violence.
you know how they got rid of the X rating?
How?
They used different colors of blood because they put the milk in there, and that got it down to NC-17.
Is The Evil Dead still NC-17?
When I watched it on HBO Max, it came up NC-17.
That's crazy. I mean, I guess that makes sense. I don't know. Is it really
What's
still
worse,
that
NC-17
bad?
or R?
And NC-17 is definitely worse. Have you?
Hmm.
This is going so far off topic, but at least this movie is short as hell and really easy to
Yeah.
talk about. Oh, it is still NC-17. Um, no, NC-17 is definitely like a kiss of death. Like
Hmm.
it's like undistributable. And like, have you ever seen the documentary "This Film Is Not Yet Rated"?
No. No,
It's
I
fan,
haven't.
it's fantastic. You would love it. But it's about the MPAA and like their weird slant against like mostly female sexuality. Um, but it's also about how the NC-17 rating is like essentially like it stops movies from making money.
Hmm.
Like if your movie is NC-17, maybe not as much now in the era of streaming services.
Right. Because I
Um,
watch things that are unrated constantly.
right. Or like there was that movie, the French movie with the lesbians, Blue is the Warmest Color.
Hmm.
That was NC-17, and like people still watched it and went apeshit for it, but it was on streaming services. But at this time and after, um, then yeah, kiss of death. I
I
actually
thought it'd
for
be like the Tipper Gore thing, where if you put a parental warning sticker on it, it would just make you want it more.
I mean, yeah, totally. It's like the video nasty effect too. Like it's when people are going to seek it out, but
Hmm.
it's not going to be distributed as widely because theaters want to appeal to families
Ugh.
and they want to fill up right.
What's worse than going to a movie theater full of children?
Honestly, Chris,
Teenagers. Teenagers are
yeah,
worse.
yeah. It's like sometimes like I know that I said that this doesn't really happen when we were talking about Scream 2. It doesn't
Hmm.
happen to the extent that it happens in that movie, but like I've been to so many first night screenings of horror movies that were just awful. Like
Hmm.
when the first new Halloween came out, the David Gordon Green one in 2018, which man, every trailer for Halloween Kills just keeps looking worse and worse.
I haven't seen one of them yet. Don't. I'm going. I'm not going opening night though. I just talked about it with somebody. We're gonna go wait until the weekend after.
It's going to be on Peacock Premium Plus, and I'm probably
Do I
just going to
have
do
that?
that. I
I
don't
might
know.
have that.
If you don't,
I might
I'll
have.
help you out.
All right. What do you think
um,
tomorrow's gonna be like? It's gonna be probably no children, right? Because it's a 40-year-old movie.
if it's NC-17, so after 6 p.m. at the theater that we're going to, sorry that we're just making plans on air, everybody. But after 6 p.m. at the theater that we're going to, they don't allow children into R-rated movies at all, even with parental supervision.
I love that. I haven't been there since I saw The Purge there.
Wow.
Yeah, on a date. Weird first date. It's like, you want to see The Purge? And I said no. And we went.
So, yeah, if you want me to patronize your theater, patronize, sorry, what's the right word?
I
Uh,
think that's it.
no, because patronizing is like the thing when you're being condescending to somebody.
Hmm.
But if you want me to be a patron of your theater, that's a great way to do it. Don't allow
Yeah.
children into R-rated movies after 6 o'clock.
Just like the Oaks. They don't let children in there at all
Well,
because
you
it's
can,
also a bar.
yeah, and it's the same thing with the manor. There are kids are allowed in the manor, but it might be the same deal. There might not be any kids allowed after 6.
I've only been there for like late night showings of like Empire Records or Rocky Horror. And it's like a bar scene. And then we're all just yelling at the TV anyway, or the movie screen.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's what we're there for, is
Right.
to yell. It's not like I'm trying to see a movie for the first time,
Right. Um, I'm not. Then we'll get back to the movie.
if you're lucky.
um, I'm not. I just don't really drink, but I don't necessarily think that a bar adds much to a movie theater. I think that I would much rather drunk people not be in the same theater as me. And,
Hmm.
like I think that movie theaters should be more quiet than a library. Okay.
Yes.
Like it is a temple.
Hmm.
So I really don't want people like being drunk in the same theater as me. like what you're describing, like, yes, if I'm seeing Rocky Horror or if I'm seeing like The Room, like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, by all means, be annoying. That's what it's there
Yeah.
for. Um, but otherwise,
Shut up.
shut
Or I
up.
will tell you to shut up, or I'll get an usher to shut you up.
Yeah, just shut up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to see if I can see how packed our theater is going to be. Anyway, do you want to talk about what happens after the tree while I'm looking this up?
So after the tree scene that we will no longer discuss until the ending, whenever we get to the things that I didn't like, um, Cheryl's running back through the woods, and this force is following her. She gets to the cabin, the door's locked. She's banging on it. Nobody's opening it. She grabs the key. It won't turn. The keys are stuck. And then right before the demon force gets to the theater, nope, to the cabin, we're going to the theater. Ash grabs her and pulls her in. And now Cheryl is your classic crazed woman from a movie because, this is the 80s. So every movie had a crazed woman.
Right.
Um, So Cheryl's screaming, "The trees are alive. We have to leave now. The trees wants us dead." So Ash decides to drive her into town. However, the car won't start. It's just car noise. I can't do a car noise, and that was my attempt at one. So forgive me. Um, Eventually, the car does start, but the bridge is destroyed. It's all bent upwards. There's no getting over it.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, we get back to the cabin. They're listening to the tape still because why not? Nothing bad has happened. Nothing bad will happen. And the man is telling about how his wife has been possessed by a Kandarian demon, and the only remedy is bodily dismemberment.
Right.
And this is my
And
favorite part of the movie coming up right here. It's just so creepy and off-putting. Whenever Linda and Cheryl are guessing, nope, Linda and Shelly are playing this game where they're guessing cards, and like Shelly's holding up a card and Linda's guessing it and she's guessing it wrong, but they're pretending like she got it right. And then standing at the window is Cheryl looking outside, and she starts naming off every card that Shelly holds up: two of clubs, ace of spades, queen of hearts.
mm-hmm.
It is so creepy.
This movie is still so scary.
Mm-hmm.
It like it doesn't like bother me as much as it did when I was younger, but like it's so impressive. It's so scary with so little. Um, yeah, that's that's a thing that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then this is like, Cheryl's gradually becoming possessed, and then she
Mm-hmm.
says like the demons are coming to kill them, and then
She starts flying around. She
mhm.
gets a pencil and she's,
And
oh, buddy, what does she do?
she stabs Linda right in her Achilles tendon with this. Yeah, yeah. And like moves it around and stuff.
Yeah.
It's and the camera doesn't cut away. That's something you
Mm-mm.
should know if you haven't seen The Evil Dead. Something you should be prepared for. The camera does not cut away, ever. They want you to
You're
see
gonna
everything.
watch it. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so they lock her into the cellar beneath the trapdoor, and
Then Linda goes and takes a nap.
yeah, what is it? Like I would like Wendy from The Shining,
Right.
went and took a nap. I'm just gonna lock this person away.
Mm-hmm.
Go get some
Take a
shut
nap.
eye.
I just got stabbed in the ankle. Night night.
Yeah, probably have lead poisoning because this is 1981.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. Good night, everybody.
Yeah. See you all tomorrow.
Yeah. Um, so yeah,
Scotty goes to check on Shelly because Shelly went to bed also.
right. Everybody's just like, okay, well, Cheryl's in the basement now, so everything's fine. And then Shelly is possessed now.
Mm-hmm.
She attacks Scotty, who, after a struggle, cuts her up with an axe.
Yeah.
And then one of the best lines in film history happens.
Oh. We
We
can't
can
bury
bury
Shelley.
Shelley.
She's our
She's our
friend.
friend.
Yep. Just so you know, never mind. It's going to be insensitive. If you have a dead friend, don't bury them. Just leave them out.
Yeah, apparently that's, you can't bury them. That's not allowed.
Hmm.
Um, so they do end up burying her though.
Yeah.
And Scotty tries to like he goes off to try and find a way out.
We don't
Um,
know what happens to him though, because he never says it. Like we don't talk about it. We're assuming it's the tree thing again.
Probably.
But we're not even there yet, so don't even worry about it, guys.
Well, Ash goes to check on Linda, and she is now possessed. And I think that Linda's makeup and like her like laughing and everything,
Hmm.
um, probably the scariest
Yeah.
deadite in all of Evil Dead history is like Linda's transformation. Um, she is so creepy, even though she doesn't try to attack him.
No. She's just
Um,
sitting there.
yeah, she's just sitting there laughing and like her head's going like this and she's just grinning and it's just
Hmm.
so scary. Um, so Scotty comes back and he's all beat up.
Yeah.
And before he passes out, he tells Ash that there is a way out of the woods. So Linda and Cheryl try to get Ash to believe that they're no longer possessed,
And it
and
works.
it works. And then they attack him.
Hmm.
So he locks Linda outside the cabin to try and help Scotty, just to like try and like stave her off while he's trying to like nurse Scotty back to health. And she sneaks in through the back door
Yeah.
and attacks Ash with the Kandarian dagger, and then he impales her with it.
And she bleeds milk. 2% milk.
Did you look it up? Was it
Yes, I
2%?
did.
All
It was
right.
2%.
Yeah, that's probably how they got around having the X rating. Um, so he takes her body to a shed.
This is my favorite. Okay, remember
Okay,
when I
go
said
ahead,
the
go
other part
ahead.
was my favorite? This is my favorite part of an Evil Dead movie is the jump cuts.
Yes.
Now, this one doesn't have the same effect as 2 or Army of Darkness. However, it is still great. It is the tool shed scene, guys. He straps her down and is like, chain, chain. It is like the way it cuts away and cuts back is Evil Dead in
Right.
itself. And it also happens in Drag Me to Hell. Um,
Very
not
Sam
sure,
Raimi.
not sure about Spider-Man. I don't think I've ever seen them, but we'll think about it. Did he do Man of the Screaming Brain, or is it somebody else? We'll Google it later.
Yeah.
It
I'll
was
Google it
also
right now. You keep talking.
a good Bruce Campbell movie. Not as good. It was good. We'll talk about it later. Um, so he straps Cheryl down. He gets out the chainsaw and he goes to cut her head off. However, he sees her necklace. Who is it?
Here's where we got confused. Bruce Campbell directed Man with a Screaming Brain.
Ah, I have that on DVD too.
Great movie.
Hmm. Um, Problematic now though, but he has the chainsaw and he's going for the neck. And then he sees her necklace with the world's longest chain draped all around her. And he stops and he just decides, you know what? I'm not going to cut her up like the tape said. I'm going to take her outside and bury her. And like this funny thing happens. This moment of like, it's really camp. He's digging a hole and she opens her eyes. And then he looks over and she closes her eyes like she's dead still. And it's that back and forth for a while. Cheryl breaks out of the cellar at this time, but we don't know that yet. I mean, the audience knows that, but Ash does not. Um, and then Ash buries Linda next to Shelley with the little crosses in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
But he doesn't dismember her. So um, she uh, comes back. Yeah, she comes out of the grave and attacks him, and he has no choice but to decapitate her with a shovel.
Mm-hmm. And then that decapitated neck just bleeds right in his mouth for a while as
Yeah,
he just holds it there
yeah,
like an Evil Dead movie.
yeah. It's also like the head does this great like flipping thing. It's, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. Um, so Cheryl, oh yeah, um, he has a shotgun now. Ash has a
Mm-hmm.
shotgun now. Um, he goes into the cellar to search for more shells, and while he's in the basement, he hears voices and he sees blood seeping from the walls. Um, and then Scotty's back.
Oh yeah, good old Scotty.
Scotty's back. He's demonically possessed. He's a deadite now too. He tries to kill Ash, and Cheryl breaks through the cellar door. And during this struggle, Ash sees that the Book of the Dead has fallen near the fireplace and it's starting to burn. And Cheryl and Scotty are also starting to burn up. Um,
There's also a really gross scene where Ash gouges out Scotty's eyes.
yeah,
That's like disgusting to look at.
it takes so long
I
to.
don't know what's oozing out of there, but I don't want to know
I
what's oozing
can't.
out of his eye sockets.
I can't wait to watch you watch this tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very
Yeah, it's gonna be
excited
great.
because okay, so just so everybody knows, the only other horror movie that Chris and I have sat and watched together was Spiral from the Book of Saw,
Mm-hmm.
and it was gross. It wasn't like as gross as other Saw movies, but it was pretty gross. But Chris is really funny to watch when gross stuff happens, so I'm very excited to see The Evil
You should
Dead.
have seen me during Frontiers.
I can't. I wish I had. I wish I
I'm in
had.
the
We're
middle of the movie Us right now. There are things happening that I can't get into on the podcast because I don't want to spoil it and I don't want it to be spoiled for me because I'm only an hour and 11 minutes into it.
okay.
But it's like gory.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's not like a mild movie. Did you get to the? Never mind. I'm not going to say
We'll
anything.
talk. I don't know how every movie he does is a masterpiece, but I can call this that being an hour and 11 minutes into it because it's so good. And that lady's in it. Not Lupita
Lupita,
Nyong'o,
uh,
the other one. The
Elizabeth
one from,
Moss.
yeah.
Yeah, and
God, I
Tim
love her.
Heidecker. Tim Heidecker is in it too.
And the guy from Black Panther's in it.
Um, what's his
Winston
name?
Duke.
Yes.
He's so
Um,
handsome.
he is. He is very handsome.
Hmm.
Um, so
What are we talking
yeah, the
about now?
eyes gouging, the
Oh,
eyes
yeah.
being gouged out. And every time I think about it, I get so excited to see this with you.
And
Um,
Ash is making a lasso with Linda's long ass necklace.
yeah.
He like Wonder Woman. Thank God. Could you imagine if he would have got her a choker? He'd be fucked.
I mean, it had a use. See,
It,
you
yep.
you
I take it all
teased,
back.
you jest,
It's like the world's biggest pot from sleepaway camp.
but that didn't have a use.
Yes, it did.
That's,
It could boil 100 corns at once.
but so can several smaller pots that are more
I'm just saying.
manageable.
I
How
came
do you
around on
dump
it.
out that pot, Chris? You
There's
know, we're not going
there.
to do this again. No, no, we're done. I'm not having this argument again.
We're having so many callbacks this episode. No titties,
No
pot.
titties, pots. Yeah, it's been a great 34 weeks, guys.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, we couldn't
Um,
have done it without you.
yeah. Um,
But
this
anyway,
is
he's doing this lasso.
yeah,
He's going for the Necronomicon.
right,
Um, Cheryl's beating him in the back with a fire poker, but not like stabbing him, beating him with it.
right. And then just when she's about to, she raises it to impale him.
Hmm.
Ash throws the Necronomicon into the fire, and Cheryl and Scotty melt.
Hmm.
And that's when you get like the oatmeal and the marshmallows and the snakes and the cockroaches.
It's really well done.
It is really well done,
It took a long
considering.
time because it's stop motion. We
Right,
didn't mention that it's stop motion, guys. There's parts of this movie that are stop motion. So this is it.
right. Um, so the sun comes up, and Ash walks outside,
Hmm.
and as he's walking outside, that same POV shot speeding through the forest, breaks through the doors of the cabin. It comes right up on him, and this is when that they rode the motorcycle into the house. But it comes up on him, and he turns around and screams before the film cuts to black.
And we never find out what happens. Or do
until
we?
until the Evil Dead Part 2.
Because that might be right where this picks up.
Maybe.
We'll never
That's
know.
exactly where it picks up.
Exactly. But they couldn't get any of the same actors back, so they're all different.
That's true. Um, but I mean, the most important person is still there. Um,
Yeah. He's so young in this.
he's such a baby.
I know.
Just a little baby.
So handsome.
Yeah. He honestly, like, Bruce Campbell is
He could get it right now, is what I'm saying.
Bruce Campbell is life. Bruce Campbell is love.
Hmm.
Um,
And Bruce, you could get it right now.
good job, Bruce.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, that's the
He's
Evil
the only
Dead.
reason I watched Burn Notice.
I couldn't. I tried.
Oh, I watched every episode.
I tried because he was in it, and
Hmm.
I just couldn't. I couldn't. It was just not for me.
It's not a good show.
No,
Nope.
no.
But
That was
what are you
like
gonna
that
do?
that weird area of television where like it was sometimes things were like Psych was on the same network, right?
I love Psych
And Psych was so good.
until the last season.
I didn't watch the last season.
Terrible.
That's what I've heard. Um, but like there was Psych and then there was like Burn Notice, and it was like, oh, I really want to watch Burn Notice because Bruce Campbell is in it, but then there's this other show that's like far better. I don't know what
Hmm.
I'm saying. I'm gonna stop talking. So every week on Idiot's Guide to Horror, we like to pick some opinions from around the internet sphere, so that you don't just have to base your opinion off of the shit that we're saying. So sometimes we call it other people's shit. Sometimes we call it movie reviews. Lately, it's probably just the letterboxed beat because I don't think that either one of us have pulled from anywhere else for a while.
The app's on my home screen. What do you want from me?
I know, same here. And also, like, it's just much easier to access reviews from there. So, how about from now on, we officially call this segment Letterboxed Beat Street? You fixing it right now? All right. So while you're renaming the segment on the script, I will pull mine up because it's much shorter than yours.
Hmm.
As in it's like 5 words. Um, so Kayla, who for some reason only gave this brilliant film 3.5 stars. Um, yeah, I know. But Kayla says, imagine trying to eat a snack while watching this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I famously watched the Human Centipede first sequence while eating a giant bowl of butterscotch pudding, and look at me, fine.
I just that's one of my favorite stories ever. That's fantastic. I
And I tell it every week for some reason.
I mean it's you have earned the right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I ate nothing during Human Centipede Part 2.
I got 10 minutes into that movie before I decided it wasn't worth my time and turned it off.
Terrible.
The first one was awful. And I could
First one was bad. Second one was terrible.
and then the third one is a crime against humanity.
I didn't even know it was released.
Yeah. They just kept like he just kept trying to make them meta or
Hmm.
like meta.
Meta.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Meta.
Uh, um yeah, they just kept trying to make them more meta, and so like by the time the third one rolled around, it's like a prison, and the prison guard wants to use the concept from the Human Centipede for his prisoners, and then Tom Six himself shows up in it and plays himself. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, it's a bunch of trash. One thing you will never hear on this podcast is Human Centipede.
I mean, you'll hear about it a lot because we mention it frequently.
Oh, but I'm never going to watch it again for as long as I live.
Yeah,
I don't
it's garbage.
I don't feel like we need to, like, I don't know, just we as a society did not did
Yeah.
not need that. Anyway, your
Did I
letterbox
see the
beat
second
me.
one in theater? Sure.
You did?
Yeah. It was
Where
playing
was it
in
even?
one theater, Dormont.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Was it the
Yeah.
Hollywood?
Uh-huh.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
Huh.
One night. That's all you get.
Good. That's all you
Um,
need, I guess.
mhm. I also got a review from Letterbox on the Letterbox Beach Street.
Mm.
And mine is from Felipe Fritz, who gave it 4.5 stars, which I can understand because I originally gave this 4.5 stars because of the tree rape scene
Mm-hmm.
takes away.
Mm-hmm.
However, we'll get to that in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, The Evil Dead is proof that it doesn't matter how low your budget might be as long as you know how to make your shots interesting to watch. The movie is crazy, full of This movie is full of crazy camera movements, creative angles, and excellent editing, creepy makeup, stop motion, reverse photography, all of which makes you forget that you're watching a pretty basic horror story by today's standards. It's so creatively directed that it turns a cabin in the woods story into a unique bunch of craziness that is full of personality and cannot be missed.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it was a good one. I
Couldn't
tried
say
to find a
anything
short
nicer.
one, but
No, but that's a great review.
mhm,
It's great.
I
Um,
liked it.
so Bechtel test results passes narrowly, but it passes.
Narrowly passes. They talk about
Mm-hmm.
Linda and Shelley talk about cards, and I guess Cheryl too.
Mm-hmm.
All three of them.
Right. Um, and the Duvernay test failed.
There
Big
are no
fail.
people of
Yeah.
color in it.
Not a one. The only
Mm-mm.
the only people in this movie is the principal cast of five people. Um,
And then the Shemps.
Idiot's Guide to Gore. Are you kidding?
What do you give it?
Like a 5 out of 5. Are you kidding? With like a 4.
I give it like a 4.
The eye gouging scene alone.
I don't know. I've watched a lot of horror movies this week, and I feel like it's not as bad as some of them.
Well, I mean, like, I agree, but we have to think of this. I know we have this discussion every week, but
I watched Cannibal Ferox last week. Nothing.
we have to think of this from the perspective of somebody who doesn't watch horror movies. So maybe on a scale of like Cannibal Holocaust to, whatever, um,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's a 4 out of 5. But
It's no audition.
but for most of humanity, um, Evil Dead is very much a 5 out of 5 on the gore scale.
All right, guys. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting.
You're totally fine. I mean, these are important discussions to have, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I
Um,
forget every week though. But my guys, my what is it? I'm desensitized
yeah,
so much
yeah.
that I forget that
That's
most people aren't fucked up like me.
that's a thing. I mean, like we were talking earlier about how, when I rewatched the new Evil Dead, I was like, oh, this
Mm-hmm.
isn't as bad as I remember it. And somebody like slowly pulls a needle out of their eyeball in close up in that movie. And I was just like,
Just go watch the Jeep scene over and over again,
yeah, yeah,
or the bathroom scene, or the scene with. I don't
yeah,
want to talk about it and just spoil anything, but
right.
it's.
Or like the end with yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Oh, everybody at home.
um,
Yeah, it's a 5 out of 5 for gore. I hope you're all happy now.
well, I don't know if they're happy, but they have
I was gonna
accurate
give it a
information.
3. I was gonna give it a 3 out of 5. Then I said no. Kara's gonna say more.
I'm sorry for being like the arbiter of. um.
Uh,
So, what was flawless? Yeah, yeah,
everything,
yeah. So,
almost
I
everything.
forgot to do the entire intro to this segment. Oh my god.
Oh yeah. Hey, pretend like something happens and you're given a key, and then you do whatever you want, and then you do whatever you don't want.
Do you want me? Do you want me to do it?
Yeah.
So every week on Idiot's Guide to Horror, we like to imagine that we have been given the keys to remake or reboot the film that we are talking about. In this instance, it would be like the fifth time that
Mm-hmm.
somebody did. Um, but then we decide what we would keep and what we would get rid of the second we had the chance. So, Chris, what was flawless for you?
Almost everything. Um, the acting was fine. The effects were perfect. The story was okay. I mean, there's not a lot going on. However, what goes right goes so right that it makes up for literally almost everything else.
I agree. It
The
also
soundtrack's bad.
it is it is like the especially like when Ash is giving Linda the necklace and there's the whole thing where he's like closing his eyes and pretending to
Uh-huh.
be asleep with the like
And then
and it's like doo,
when
doo, doo.
they're
Like
running through the woods and the music bad, but they had
yeah,
no budget for music, guys. They
right.
had no budget.
Right. They didn't even have budget for a dolly. They rode a motorcycle through a cabin. So um yeah, I agree. I think that this movie is just like the ingenuity
Mm-hmm.
of this movie makes for timelessness. It's absolutely like so smartly made, like so intelligently made. And like you wouldn't know that these were kids that didn't have like the technical wherewithal to make a really scary movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though this is very obviously low budget and like sometimes the performances are so cheesy, um, it doesn't really matter because the atmosphere is spot on,
Mm-hmm.
so well directed, so well executed. Also, the practical effects in this movie are off the chain, rivaled only, topped only, I guess I should say, because it's not rivaled. Nothing's on top of the thing, but
Mm-hmm. Nothing.
John Carpenter's The Thing is like the only movie that I think really tops this for practical effects.
The scene with the dog,
Oh, and The Thing,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. I mean,
you
yeah.
can't come close to that.
No, no, there's nothing like that movie. Nothing like it. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you. Almost everything. Bruce Campbell's unibrow too,
Yeah,
and his Canadian tuxedo because he's wearing a full denim outfit.
aren't we all? I mean, not me right now, but maybe tomorrow I will.
Hey, why not?
Mm-hmm.
So if you could change something, this is so obvious, but if you could change something, what would it be?
Let me think. The tree rape.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I don't know who out there wants this. I
Oh, I could tell you. I saw it on Letterbox this morning.
Oh yeah, I've seen a bunch of people that like yeah, but if there's anybody listening to us that wants this, I don't want to hear from you.
Yeah.
I don't want to know you. Um Even the person who made this movie doesn't think that this should be in here. Thinks that it's excessive and for shock value and doesn't really add anything to the story. Um so yeah, it's probably the most iconic, but it's one of those things like where it's the most iconic scene of the movie, but not for good reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Um So yeah, 100% I would take that out. That's probably about it for me.
I would. The plot wasn't really there, and we didn't have fully formed characters.
So the thing with the plot not really being there is that it left so much room for it to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that was always Sam Raimi's intention, but it did. Like from there, this universe has expanded and it's
Right.
like, it's its own little like it's not even just cinematic. Like there are comics, like we said
Mm-hmm.
earlier, there are video games, there's television series. Um so
There was
I
almost an Ash versus Freddy versus Jason.
Oh God, I wish so bad. Don't you wish?
I know. I haven't seen the actual Freddy versus Jason, but I would watch the Ash versus Freddy versus Jason. I watched Child's Play for the first time last night.
You've got to watch Freddy versus Jason.
We'll see if it's streaming.
It is. It's on HBO Max.
I had to buy Child's Play, by the way,
What the fuck? I thought it was on like everything.
not streaming. And to rent it was $3.99, and to purchase it was $4.99.
So did you just buy it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I should have bought Us because it's so fucking good, but I didn't want to pay $15.
Fair. Fair.
So I rented it
Yeah.
because
Um.
none of the movies I picked this month are streaming anywhere, so I'm going broke.
Um. So that was what I like based. I'm like barely doing Hooptober. Hooptober is going to take me like 3 months, but I picked everything based on whether or not I could easily find it. So
I thought I did too. I knew Us was not streaming, but I really wanted to watch it, and one other one. But I've had to buy like 6 movies now. Thank God I didn't pay any money for Antichrist.
so if you've been listening to the podcast, if you've been here since the beginning, you know that um, we've been waiting for Chris to
Mhm.
watch Antichrist,
Whose
and
penis was that?
a porn stars maybe, I don't know, not Willem Dafoe's.
Not Willem Dafoe's.
I don't know.
I've
Uh,
never hated a movie that much except for
mhm.
Neon Blonde. Nope, not. What was that movie called? Neon Demon.
Oh God, I hated Neon Demon too. Okay, look at us agreeing on these things.
I know.
Yeah, Antichrist is one of the worst movies to ever
It
happen
was
to the world.
trying so hard.
It's such a pretentious sack of shit.
Why is it rated so high? Oh, because the internet's full of pretentious sacks of shit.
And there are Lars von Trier like fan boys
What else
everywhere.
has he done? Anything?
Yes. And only a few of the things that he has done have been things that I've. There have been two things that he has done that I have been impressed with. I wouldn't say I have ever like enjoyed myself watching one of his movies. But
Oh, the house that Jack built.
I,
I couldn't even get 10 minutes into that.
I'm not watching that.
I turned it right off.
I'm not watching that. I, Melancholia.
Mm-hmm.
Melancholia is a very good movie, but it is not fun to watch. And then the one movie that he made that really blew me away, and I don't even think this was his fault, um, was Dancer in the Dark. And I feel
Oh
like
yeah.
that was all because of Bjork.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well,
so, well, that's just, yeah. I love Bjork. Love Bjork. But yeah, Lars von Trier is fucking garbage. So,
I put that in the notes too, so you'll see that on Instagram.
all right. So, what do we rate it?
Um, 5 out of 5. Duh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Stone Cold classic. 5 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Arguably the second best in the series. Um, I'm sorry, guys, but whenever we cover Evil Dead 2, I'm just going to like make love to this movie the entire time.
it's. I guess it's more fun. Like it's funnier.
It's funnier. And I don't want to spoil anything for a movie that's almost 40 years old, but like,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that yeah, that becomes it furthers the canon,
mm-hmm.
but I just think that this is more like technically impressive, and
Yes.
like it's a brilliant foundation for having like for the story behind it, for like how much
Mm-hmm.
work they put into it, how young they were, how much of their own lives they put on the line to make this. Um, it's
It's
like
a
the
masterpiece.
yeah, it's like the horror version of Clerks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Exactly.
yeah, like Kevin Smith put his entire life on the line to make that movie, and it became like it paid off.
But I like Clerks better than Clerks 2.
That's fair because it is a superior movie.
Mm-hmm.
Not that Clerks 2 is bad by any
No, I
means.
like Clerks 2.
Yeah,
I
but
just it is not as good as the original Clerks. Whereas I feel like Evil Dead 2 takes the greatness from Evil Dead and takes it further. Whereas Army of Darkness takes it a step back. No offense to Army of Darkness. I love it. I own it. I'll watch it again tomorrow. It's fine. It's just not it's not like a horror movie.
it's definitely like a horror comedy.
Mm-hmm.
But I would get Shop Smart, Shop S Smart tattooed on my forehead. I don't.
Hell yeah.
That's look like Post Malone, but it's just going to be
Mm-hmm.
Ash Williams quotes like all
I would
over
just
me.
get, hey, she bitch.
Yeah, yo, she bitch, let's go.
Yeah.
I have a shirt that says that, but I
Okay. Army of Darkness is the most quotable of all of them.
yeah, this is my boomstick is from
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
All right, you print of screwheads, listen up. You see this? This is my boomstick. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is endlessly quotable.
right.
What are
Anyway,
we, this is a very short episode, guys. Oh, we still
it's
have Idiot's Guide to Non-Horror.
yeah, it's Idiot's Guide to Non-Horror. So what do you got for us this week?
I'm going to recommend a rival podcast this week. Um, my favorite podcast is back for a third season. It is only on Stitcher Premium, however. So if you have a Stitcher Premium account, you can listen to it at all. It is called Groceries, and is where two of my favorite podcast people, Brian Safi and Aaron Gibson from Attitudes podcast, go into a different grocery store every week and review it. They review the cart size, the aisle width, what if you can get gay friendly lube there, and just overall like the parking experience to check out is the most relaxing podcast you can listen to, and it's also hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been waiting for season 3 for like 2 years now, and here she is.
That's
So I haven't
yeah.
listened to the first episode yet, so maybe I'm just going, you know, too much, but I'm gonna listen to it at work tomorrow.
It's gonna be great no
It's
matter
gonna be
what. Like
great.
they're amazing. If you
Mm-hmm.
haven't even listened to their anchor podcast, which is Attitudes,
Mm-hmm.
formerly Throwing Shade, now Attitudes, you should
It's going
definitely
on
check.
5 years long, so you have a
Yeah,
good back catalog to listen to.
yeah. Or you could just go to YouTube, type in Infomania, and then
Mm-hmm.
type in either one of their names. Brian Safi used to do an incredible segment called "That's Gay,"
Mm-hmm.
which was fantastic.
And Aaron Gibson used to do a segment called Modern Lady.
Yeah, yeah. She took the place of Sarah Haskins, who I want to know where Sarah Haskins went.
We're the only two people to know what Infomania is.
I know, I know. Everybody's like, "What are they talking about?" So I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry.
But now that we mention them, we can tag them in the podcast when we announce the episode.
Hi.
Okay,
Um, so that's a good recommendation. I
thank
like
you.
that. That's good. Mine is, as usual, much more embarrassing because I just try to be honest
Is
here.
it NASCAR again?
It is not, and it was not NASCAR before. It
It
was
was
Formula.
Formula One.
Yeah,
Okay.
NASCAR. um, as if.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you like sometimes think like, what would my life be like if I was one of those person that had like NASCAR lamps in my home though?
I've never wondered that. No,
I sometimes like I don't know, just because of like where we grew up, I'm like, man, I could have gone in like a totally
it,
different direction.
I have high school friends that were like NASCAR themed bedrooms.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like I don't have like a single deer disembodied deer head in my home,
No,
but that could have been a thing because of where we come from.
it was a very good possibility. The
Right.
way we ended up is far different. Like we're the weird ones.
We are the weirdos, mister.
Uh-huh. It's like an episode of callbacks.
Yes. um but anyway, no, it's embarrassing in a different way. So, my 9-year-old niece, who I am desperately trying to make believe that I am cool,
Mm-hmm.
she's really into anime right now. And I had an anime phase in high school. Um,
Oh,
she's,
I'm still in mine.
yeah, she's reading Death Note, which I warned my brother that's not appropriate, but here we
Yeah.
are. Um, she's already deep into it.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing that she's really into is My Hero Academia.
Love it.
So I started watching it just so I could be like, oh, guess what, Abby? I started what? And like now I'm almost 3 seasons deep. It's been four
Mm-hmm.
days.
Mm-hmm.
I work from home, but lately I've been going to a coffee shop when I work just to have the divide between home and work life. And I set up my laptop, and then next to it, I set up my phone, and my phone's just playing My Hero Academia the entire time that I'm working. Um, it is. It's like a weird tone. It's not really for kids, but it's also not
No.
really for adults.
Oh, I
Um,
love it.
I love it. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's like a really sweet, very pure
Mm-hmm.
concept about like It's very basic as far as like animes go because sometimes anime plots can be like insanely complicated and not make any sense whatsoever. But My Hero Academia is just kids that are growing up in a universe where um, 80% I think of the people have
Mm-hmm.
a superpower that they call quirks. And one kid wants to be a hero more than anything, and he wasn't born with a quirk, but he is gifted a quirk by his favorite hero, because he's got the heart of a hero. Um, so that's my recommendation this week is My Hero Academia.
I'm here for it.
No, no.
Also, if you want a really complicated plot for an anime that's really fun and really bonkers to watch, I would recommend Kill la Kill.
Kill the Kill.
Kill la Kill. Your
Can you
audio
still
got
hear me?
weird. Oh, yeah, you're fine now.
Okay, yeah. For some reason, it was like we're not doing that anymore, and then it changed. Um, I hope that it's still recording. It stopped recording.
Mm.
What? Where are you at?
Hour 18, 49 seconds.
Okay, stop it there for a second. All right, I'm going to start recording again, and yeah, I stopped at an hour 18:27.
Oh, so we're hardly off. Do we
Yeah.
rewind to hour 18:27?
Actually, yeah. Here, let's do that. Let me see where I cut off. Shit. Hi, YouTube.
Hey guys.
What the fuck?
Okay.
Hold on. Holy shit, what the fuck? Hold on. Okay, so I started, for some reason, my audio just randomly started messing up. Ah, this is so annoying.
We only lost 10 seconds, 20 seconds.
My audio started messing up before that.
Hmm.
Hold on.
YouTube, don't tell my mom.
Did you just vape? I
Yeah.
don't have your window up right now because I'm fixing this.
Mhm. No, my mom knows I vape, guys.
Oh, okay.
I'm also in my mid 30s, so calm down.
I'm telling on you.
Oh, YouTube, want to see what else I got this week?
Yes, show YouTube while I'm figuring out what the fuck happened here.
I got my Taylor Swift Fearless version. Nope, my Fearless Taylor's version vinyl. And much like Austin Powers, gold member, it's gold. I also have another gold vinyl, but it's ABBA
Oh, that's good.
because you need
Um,
ABBA.
so, okay. So I think that 1755.250, that's where it all went to shit. So I'm going to get rid of that. And then, what was I? Okay. All right, I'm recording again.
Okay, I went back to 1755.250.
Oh, wait, shit, then I'll wait.
What are you at now?
Here, I'm back to 1755 even. Start there.
Okay. You want to count in? Or we should just record?
Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, so
For those
my
of you on the ears and not the eyes, you missed something.
yeah, my audio got messed up while I was talking about My Hero Academia. Like the microphone just cut out. But now we're back.
You only
So
lost like 30 seconds, guys.
right,
But
and
you missed me vaping live on air.
all I was saying was that in My Hero Academia, there is a kid who is born without a quirk, and he is gifted a quirk by his favorite hero because he has the heart of a hero. So that's my recommendation. My non-horror recommendation this week is My
Mm-hmm.
Hero Academia.
Yeah, check it out. It's on Hulu, I think.
It is on Hulu, yes. Also, if you have the Funimation app, which I don't, but it's on there too.
Somebody's paying for Crunchyroll for me, but I don't know who it is, so I'm not going to mention it in case they remember.
Forget about it. You heard nothing.
You heard nothing.
Yeah. So anyway, you can email us questions, comments, recommendations to idiotsguidetohorror@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram at idiotsguidetohorror. We have a YouTube channel. For those of you watching this video, you already know that. But for those of you who aren't watching it and you are listening to it, and if you would like to see just the entire dynamic,
Yeah, you're missing stuff before we record the audio.
yeah, yeah, the people who watch it on YouTube get some treats.
Yeah, I forgot what we talked about. It was stupid.
It was stupid. I don't remember what it was either. We'll find out in 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
But that YouTube channel is called Idiot's Guide to Horror, obviously. You can find us on facebook.com/horror idiots. And please continue to tell people about us. Please rate our podcast. Help other horror movie fans find us. Tell a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And until next time, excuse me, Mr. Fancy Pants.
That's my Instagram handle. I haven't touched my Instagram in like a month, but my Instagram handle is Groovy Fancy Pants because of Ash Williams.
Mine's just my name.
Klaatu, Barada, Nikto. Yeah, or
Did I say all the words right? Basically, I forget. I have to go watch a movie. You know, I gotta watch it. It's,
yeah,
groovy.
Groovy. Shop
See,
smart, shop S smart.
There's no, the first one, not as quotable,
Right.
but it gets there. It'll get us to, guys, we gotta go. We don't know how to end a podcast very well, but
I know this is like the shortest one we've had in so long too, and we're just like,
yeah. But until next time, never waste your pain.
I love you. Happy spooky season.
Yeah. Go to a haunted house. Don't kill anybody.
Yeah, please. That's not nice. Don't do that. All right.
Mhm.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Good night. Bye.
Bye. I stopped recording.
Me too. And I'm going to. Bye, YouTube.
Yeah. Auf Wiedersehen.